Ancient mythology is full of exotic and enigmatic creatures from all over the world, some of which have survived the passage of time and endured in our collective consciousness for generations. These fabled beings, which range from dragons and giants to mermaids and fairies, have captured the imaginations of individuals from all different backgrounds and ages. Today, we'll take a look and examine 10 famed mythical creatures from folklore all over the globe, as well as how our understanding of them has changed over time. For many generations, dragons have played a central role in mythology and folklore in cultures all across the world. Several prehistoric societies, including the ancient Greeks, Chinese, Celts, Germans, and Slavs, were familiar with the concept of dragons and their mythological power. St. George and the Dragon is the most recognizable of the Western dragon legends that are most in demand today. This tale describes the heroic deed of a knight who slays a fire-breathing monster to save a princess. Dragon kings are mighty legendary beings that stand in for strength and wisdom in Chinese mythology. A lesser-known tale about the Zeme, a dragon-like creature with Slavic origins, exists in Eastern Europe. This being, who has been portrayed as having wings and many heads, is frequently used as a representation of strength and might. Similar to this, the Welsh Wide Drake Goch, often known as the Red Dragon, is recognized as a symbol of luck and wealth in Wales. Dragons have generally played a significant role in ancient mythology for many years, and their tales have been passed down through the generations. These legendary beings continue to awe people everywhere, from St. George and the Dragon to the Zeme. Folklore about mermaids and mermen has existed for a very long time, and it still captures people's imaginations today. Although many cultures have their versions of the origins of these fanciful beings, some of the earliest myths we are aware of regarding mermaids and mermen originate from ancient Greece and the Middle East. Greek mythology frequently depicted mermaids and mermen as attractive beings with fish-like tails that seduce seafarers into their fate with their seductive songs. A young mermaid gives up her tail in exchange for legs in Hans Christian Andersen's The Little Mermaid, one of the most well-known mermaid myths, to earn the love of a human prince. Mermaids and mermen are revered as powerful ocean protectors or as symbols of fertility and plenty in many other cultures. Selkies are reputed to be enigmatic creatures that dwell beneath the sea in Scotland. When they reach land, they can transform into humans, but they eventually have to go back to the sea. Similar abilities are attributed to the water spirits known as Mamiwata in West Africa. There is a tale or legend about these fictitious animals in every culture you look at. Mermaids and mermen have enchanted mankind with their beauty and power for millennia, captivating everyone from the ancient Greeks to the Scottish Selkies. Griffins are mythical creatures that appear in the folklore of numerous ethnic groups and religious traditions. They are frequently shown as having a lion's body and an eagle's head, wings, and talons. From ancient Greece to contemporary fantasy fiction, griffins have appeared in myths and folklore. The fable of Arimaspe and the Golden Griffin is well known in Greek mythology. The legend claims that a huge griffin protected a mountain of gold that the one-eyed man Arimaspe wanted to take. Another well-known fable claims that Alexander the Great came into a group of griffins while traveling through India. The Persian simurgh and the Egyptian griffin are two further lesser-known griffin animals. The hybrid creature known as the griffin, which has an eagle's head and a lion's body, is frequently seen in hieroglyphs and on tomb walls. In contrast, the enormous simurgh from Persian folklore is thought to symbolize wisdom and understanding. Undoubtedly, griffins have fascinated people for millennia as a result of their extraordinary blend of lion and eagle characteristics in myth and legend. Griffins are an everlasting representation of bravery and strength, whether in the well-known stories of Arimaspe and Alexander the Great, or in the lesser-known tales of the Egyptian griffin and Persian simurgh. Throughout the beginning of time, legendary phoenixes have been a part of several cultures. Although its origin myths vary depending on the culture, they frequently stand for rebirth, immortality, and strength. A supernatural bird called Bennu was credited with creating the universe in ancient Egypt, and a phoenix was fabled to rise from the ashes of its predecessor every 500 years in Greek mythology. The phoenix, known as Feng Huang, or Chinese phoenix in Chinese folklore, is regarded as a symbol of beauty, joy, and grace. The Feng Huang was revered as a supernatural being with the ability to bring rain and fertility. Another form of phoenix species is the Russian firebird, which is seen as a stunning bird with fiery red and orange feathers. Anka, a kind, phoenix-like creature from Arabian folklore, fulfills the wishes of people who are courageous enough to catch it. Phoenixes have a long history of serving as potent representations of change and rebirth. These creatures continue to awe people all across the world, whether it is as a symbol of hope or a reminder of our mortality. Since the time of ancient Greece, there have been sightings of and tales about the Kraken, which have long been a staple of mythology. Folk tales from throughout the world have spoken of these magical aquatic monsters. They are viewed in some cultures as enormous sea monsters with enormous tentacles that are capable of dragging entire ships underwater. In other civilizations, they are more like enormous octopuses or squid that have formidable suction cups and can capsize ships. The Kraken is a huge sea monster from Norse mythology that is thought to live in the deep ocean. It is said to have tentacles that are so enormous that they might be mistaken for islands. It is also said to be capable of causing storms and whirlpools that could dredge ships into the ocean's depths. The Kraken is linked to the Greek story of Scylla and Charybdis, two enormous sea monsters who were rumored to have caused a potent vortex in the Strait of Messina. There is a lesser-known Kraken creature called the giant octopus in Japan. This creature is characterized as an enormous octopus that dwells in the deepest depths of the ocean and has strong tentacles that can drag ships underwater. It is also thought to have magical abilities, which it employs to protect seafarers from finding hidden treasure. Another lesser-known Kraken creature from South African folklore is the Inkanyamba, a giant snake-like creature with a wide mouth packed with razor-sharp teeth. This creature is described as having these features. It is supposed to be a creature that dwells in Lake Sibai's waters and that it can generate strong whirlpools that can submerge nearby ships. Krakens are legendary creatures that have appeared in legends and sightings from all around the world for millennia. These enigmatic beings have captured our imaginations for countless centuries, whether they are viewed as enormous sea monsters with ferocious tentacles or enormous octopuses with magical abilities. Since ancient times, chimeras have been mentioned in folklore. These mythical beings often feature a lion's body, a goat's head, and a snake's tail, though some may have different animal component combinations. They are believed to have come from the Middle East, where the first monster tales were created. The chimera was a terrifying creature from Greek mythology that breathed fire and had 3 heads, a lion's, a goat's, and a serpent's. This fabled creature is still well known today and is frequently cited as an example of one. The Sharaba is a creature from Hindu mythology that is said to be made up of several animal parts, including the head of an elephant, the body of a lion, the wings of a hawk, and the claws of a tiger. Even the strong god Shiva is thought to be no match for it, according to legend. According to legend, the Filipino tikbalang looks like a person, but has a horse's head and long claws. According to its Genesis myth, it was created by a cursed coupling of 2 mortals. In the jungle, this critter has been known to cause trouble and even lure people astray. Another chimeric creature with wings and a bird's head is the Native American Piasa. It is rumored to reside around rivers and ravines and to have a history of capturing and eating people. These legendary beings have long served as symbols of dread, savagery, and power in folklore and mythology throughout the world. You can determine if they exist or not, but one thing is for sure: these chimeras will continue to amaze us for a very long time. Since ancient times, unicorns have appeared in mythology and folklore throughout the world. They are frequently regarded as a representation of grace, power, and purity. Unicorn origin tales differ from culture to culture, although they frequently represent strength, purity, and magic. The well-known legend of the unicorn and the virgin has been ingrained in our culture as a whole. A young woman in this story manages to catch a unicorn as it approaches her. The girl is successful in taming the unicorn, which can only be tamed by the touch of a pure heart. This tale is thought to stand for innocence and resisting temptation. The magical beast is equated with strength, sagacity, and bravery in the King Arthur tale. The great monarch is claimed to have captured a unicorn's horn in his grasp and used it to obtain a magical sword. King Arthur used this sword to defeat evil and establish peace. More interesting are lesser-known unicorn species like the Scottish sea unicorn and the Chinese qilin. It is believed that the qilin, a hybrid species with dragon-like traits, will bring luck. According to legend, the Scottish sea unicorn brings wealth and safety to seamen. Unquestionably strong legendary creatures, unicorns are ingrained in numerous cultures all over the world. From the well-known unicorn and virgin story to lesser-known characters like the qilin and the Scottish sea unicorn, these fascinating creatures will never cease to enchant us with their extraordinary tales and supernatural abilities. Two of the most well-known mythical creatures in folklore all around the world are the Bigfoot and the Yeti. Bigfoot, commonly referred to as Sasquatch, is a big, hairy, and human-like creature that is rumored to prowl North American woodlands. A mystery creature known as the Yeti, sometimes known as the Abominable Snowman, is thought to reside in the Himalayan highlands' highest peaks. For many years, these monsters have been mentioned in folklore, and several civilizations have their versions of the narrative. Native Americans have legends about the Sasquatch, a huge, hairy humanoid who prowls North American woodlands. Stories about the enigmatic creature known as the Abominable Snowman, which dwells in the Himalayan mountains, are common in Nepal. There are additional, less well-known Bigfoot and Yeti creatures in addition to these more popular stories. Locals in Indonesia have legends about a little bipedal humanoid that lives in the jungles called the Orang Pendek. The Yowie, an Australian term for the Yeti, is another variation. The existence of Bigfoot and the Yeti is still up for dispute, but whether they exist or not, these creatures continue to play a significant role in myth and folklore all around the world. One of the most famous mythical monsters from old folklore is the dreaded Abominable Snowman. The creature has been linked to numerous cultures around the world, and it may be found in tales from Russia, Nepal, Tibet, and even Mongolia. The Abominable Snowman is referred to as the Meto Kangmi, or man-bear snowman, in Nepal and Tibet. This creature is depicted as a big, hairy beast that prowls the Himalayan slopes blanketed in snow. According to legends, it possesses a keen sense of smell, is swift and agile, and can repel enormous predators. The Abominable Snowman is referred to as the Almas in Mongolia. The Almas, a human-like monster with red fur, long arms, and small legs, is thought to reside in the Altai Mountains. This creature, according to folklore, is a powerful and clever being who dwells in the mountains and guards them against intruders. The Abominable Snowman is referred to as the Chuchuna in Russia. It is characterized as being a little, white humanoid with protruding claws and pointed teeth. The Chuchuna is thought to be a cunning monster that dwells in the Ural Mountains, and if disturbed, can bring trouble or harm to mankind. The Abominable Snowman is one of the most fascinating and enigmatic mythical creatures in the world, regardless of the culture or area in which it is located. Many reports of sightings of this creature over the years have kept its mythology alive and well, even though many people think it is nothing more than a myth. The Loch Ness Monster, often known as Nessie or another cryptid, is rumored to live in the depths of Scotland's most famous lake. Since at least the 6th century, Nessie has been a part of local lore, and sightings of the monster have been documented ever since. Although a big, long-necked sea monster is the most typical description of Nessie, there have been accounts of varied sizes and shapes over the years. The surgeon's photograph, which was shot by Robert Kenneth Wilson in 1934, is the most well-known image of the Loch Ness Monster. Cryptozoologists are still debating the identity of the image, which depicts a big, extended neck poking above the water. No tangible proof of the Loch Ness Monster's existence has ever been discovered, despite repeated attempts to do so. Some argue that it is only a myth made up by the locals and circulated by tourists, while some contend that it is an unknown type of lake monster. Whatever the case, Nessie's fame is certain to go on for a very long time. What do you think? Which of these epic mythical creatures is your favorite out of all of them? Were you aware of the origins of some of the most famous mythical beings? And if your favorite mythical creature wasn't listed here, what was it? Be sure to let us know in the comments, and as always, please like and subscribe for more content just like this. Until next time.